Hello, YouTube. It's me, John Avenger, once again, and we finally got to the list. My list that I do every year. This is my top 10 best honorable mentions, worst, and dishonorable mentions of 2024. Every film that I saw that I either hated, liked, or loved, and there was plenty of that. Let's just get to it, so I don't have to waste any time. Let's get the dishonorable mentions out of the way first. You got Madam Web. Yeah, this wasn't a good movie, guys. Everybody hated it. I thought it was bad. I don't think it's the worst thing I've ever seen, though. It was a bad movie that should have just never been made. That's all I can say about it. And the other dishonorable mention is Harold and the Purple Crayon. It was a stupid kids movie that should have been animated or have a child as this lead, not a grown man. They changed the source material. It was dumb. It wasn't funny. It was really forced. They were lazy with the source material, and it was just dumb. And it didn't need to be made. I'm glad it bombed. We're never going to see a sequel. I'm glad that's over with. Now the worst of the year. We got If is number 3. The 2024 movie with Ryan Reynolds and Kaylee Fleming. This is more disappointing than a horrible movie because I'm like, it's a kid's movie, yet it doesn't feel like a kid's movie. They spend most of the movie in the hospital, and these girls seeing all these crazy images, which look great, but it just didn't connect with me. I don't think it was funny. I don't think it was charming. It just took me out of it. A lot of the schmaltzy things just felt forced. I miss Louis Gossett Jr.'s this last performance. May he rest in peace. I like the lead girl and the effects, but that's it. The story didn't connect. I didn't laugh. I was just confused throughout most of it. The purple freaking grimace looking thing did nothing for me. I didn't care for the for some of the voice acting. And it's forgettable. Ryan Reynolds is not even funny in the movie. He's just there. He was way better in Deadpool and Wolverine, but we'll get to that. But if you've never seen it, skip it. Just see Inside Out. It's a much better movie. And no, Inside Out 2 will not be on this list because I didn't see it yet. But anyway, number 3 was If. Number 2, worst movies I saw this year, Night Swim. This boring, dramatic horror movie was not scary. It was just a dumb premise to begin with. You waste actors like Wyatt Russell. It's a waste of a budget. It's a waste of a horror movie. And it's just really forgettable. Like, if you've seen one movie underwater, possession thing, you've seen them all. And this was PG-13, so I couldn't show any gore or anything. It was toned down, and just it sucked. It was a bad movie. A lot of people had this on their worst list, and I'm glad because it came out at the beginning of the year when nothing good was coming out, and I could not care less about this. It was just dumb. And if you've never seen it, skip it. See something better, like It Follows. That's a much better horror movie. And my worst of this year was Tarot. I thought they stopped making movies like this back in the 2010s when Ouija came out 10 years ago. I thought that would be the last genre, the last of the horror genre to have a movie like that. But no, we have Tarot, which is even worse because you waste this cast. It's PG-13, just like Night Swim. It's really censored. It's boring and slow, and nothing happens. It's not scary. It didn't grab me, and like I said, in the hands of a better director, this could have been really good, or at least decent. Like Ouija 2, Origin of Evil, they said is better than the original, but this is just really, really flat. And I'm glad I didn't see it in the theater because I'm like, Avantika deserved better than this. This was her year where she was, becoming mainstream because she did Mean Girls, and then she did this, and I'm like, wow, this is a waste of her talent. Don't waste her like this again, Hollywood. We don't need movies like this flooding our theaters or streaming. I saw it on Netflix, and it was just not a good time. It was horrible. I never want to see it again. Maybe we never speak about it again. Okay, now that that's out of the way, let's get to the good stuff. Honorable mentions. We got Quiet on the Set, the Nickelodeon documentary from Amazon Prime. This was really intense. I would not recommend watching this with your kids because it's very traumatic. I still can watch the Nickelodeon shows even though after all that happened, but the insightful interviews from some of the cast members from Nickelodeon was really interesting. They explained what was going on during that time, and I get it. It was a lot of traumatic experiences that they went through, and I would never want that to happen to my kids or to myself. But it did its job. It got its message out there, and people saw it, and it got attention, and and it's not on Paramount Plus, it's on Amazon Prime. So if you want to see it, be warned, there's a lot of disturbing images in it, just to warn you. Okay, next honorable mention, Red One. I don't think this is as bad as people say it is. It's funny. I like the cast. It's a little long and there's some dumb things in it, but it had as much Christmas spirit as it could. And I wasn't bored. I thought the cast did fine. Chris Evans, The Rock, J.K. Simmons, Kieran Shipka, Lucy Liu. They all did fine. Is it a classic? No, but it's a lot better than other Christmas movies I saw on Netflix over the years. And on Hallmark, Lifetime, etc. At least it made me smile. I had fun in the theater watching it. It's not one of the worst of the year. Not even close. Next is Transformers 1. Yeah, this is a shame that this movie bombed. This was actually good. It's under 2 hours, so it's not a Michael Bay movie that goes on too long. The animation looks fine. I know a lot of people said it looked terrible. I don't know what they're talking about. I've seen asylum movies look way worse than this. The voice acting was really good, except for Chris Hemsworth. I thought he just didn't work as Optimus Prime. His accent slips in and out, and it took me out of the movie. The action was cool. The animation was good. The colors were a nice touch, and it had a good sense of humor. It was fun. Was it the best movie? No. Bumblebee's still the best one, but this is it's pretty close. But it was worth a watch. I watched it on streaming. Next is Beverly Hills Cop 4, Axel F. Yeah, the only one not to go to theaters, but it was actually really good. There were problems. It was a little long, and whatchamacallit, Judge Reinhold gets a little bit underused, and the daughter is going to be divisive for most people. But I thought it was funny. Eddie Murphy still got the man. I still love his sense of humor. It was R-rated, so it was not toned down by a PG-13. You had Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He was good in the film. The villain was not much to write home about, but I thought it was just there. And it was under 2 hours, so I can't ask for anything better than a comedy, an action comedy that's under 2 hours, like the original, which I'll get to when I do the podcast for that. But I thought Axel F was funny and one of the better film sequels on streaming this year. Next is Tiger's Apprentice. This is a decent animated movie that they did earlier this year. It came out in February. It was a decent animation. It was Asian. It was fun. Some decent voice actors, except for the guy that played the tiger. I don't think he was that great. But it was short. It was an hour and something minutes. It could have been a little bit longer and in theaters, but what are you going to do? Paramount Plus dumped this on the streaming service. But I liked it. I will watch it again next year. It's not perfect, but it does have a lot of mystical Asian stuff in it that I really enjoyed. So there's that. Okay, next is the 3-part Justice League Crisis on Infinite Earths Part 1, 2, and 3. I put them all together because it's one story just in 3 parts. This was good. Not perfect. I don't think it's better than the one that the CW did, but they did try in animation, and there's a lot in it, but it was good. For what it was one of DC's better outings this year, considering that they did Folie à Deux, and that's not on any of my list. I didn't see it. This I did. I thought it was fun to watch all these characters' animation and a really adult story. It wasn't goofy. It mostly, and it worked for me. At least I think, Supergirl's death in the third one made me tear up, so it made its impact. And the last honorable mention is my good luck charm from this year. The thing that I won this year, The Beekeeper. This definitely did not disappoint me. I had fun. I didn't watch it in the theater, but I watched it at home. It's a lot of fun. Jason Statham is a great lead. Good action, funny, very energetic, and again, an hour and 40-some minutes, not 2 hours. Some of my favorite movies this year were not 2 hours. They didn't need to be. Sometimes you get in and get out, you entertain me, and we go home. Okay, now my top 10 best. Number 10, I know it's going to be divisive, but I don't care, is Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Everybody hated this movie. I don't get why. This is not the remake, guys. That's still the worst. If you want to see a bad Ghostbusters movie, see the remake with the women, because it's sexist and not funny, and it just gives a finger to the fans of the original. This, I like McKenna Grace. I think she's adorable. Finn Wolfhard, he's fun. Paul Rudd, Carrie Coon, even the original cast. They have more than 5 seconds of screen time mostly. There's a lot in it. I get it. Not every joke hits. Not everything works. But at the end of the day, I had fun watching this in the theater. The nostalgia kicked in. It made me laugh. It made me smile. They did something different. It's not a remake of Ghostbusters 2, at least. So I give it credit. Could have been a lot worse. Just saying. Next is Godzilla. 9 is Godzilla X Kong: The New Empire. Yes, the human characters are not great here, but the monsters definitely are front and center, and they don't disappoint. There's so much crazy things happening. It's fast paced. The monsters are doing things. They look great. The CGI works for me, and I was entertained. It could have been shorter, and some characters could have been trimmed out, but again, not perfect, but good enough for me to put on my top 10. In the theater, I had fun. Kong alone was worth watching in the theater. Godzilla just needed a little bit more screen time. That would have helped. But I enjoyed myself. I think the other one was better, though, Godzilla vs. Kong. But this one's not bad. I was entertained. Next, number 8 is Bad Boys 4. Or what is it? Ride or Die? Yeah. A lot of fun, guys. This was one of the best sequels of this year. I was laughing in the theater. The scene with Reggie is still one of the coolest action scenes of the entire year. It's not a comic book movie. It doesn't drag like Bad Boys 2. There were some new characters I didn't care for. Like I said, Ewan Grufford and the girl that plays Will Smith's wife had nothing on Jada Pinkett Smith. But the action and the comedy was there. Will and Martin Lawrence still got great chemistry. It's still fun. The action's still good. It still has a budget. And it was fast paced at the most part, and it was good. It wasn't better than 3, but it's still better than 2, and it was my money's worth. So, Bad Boys 4 gets a shout out for being entertaining. Number 7, I know Josh is gonna hate me for this. I don't care. This is my list. You do your own if you can get on camera again, because I'm not afraid of nothing after the extraction that happened to me last week. Despicable Me 4. I laughed out loud in the theater. This was freaking hilarious. I love the Minions. Love Will Ferrell's the villain. There's some things in it that didn't work for me, like the Roaches and Sofia Vergara. But hey, it's short. It's 95 minutes long. It wasn't that long. And even Gru and the kids, they're always a joy to watch, even after all these years. The ending was definitive, so we don't need a 5th one. So I'm fine with getting this being the end, because it was funny. And I waited a couple years for this, and I laughed, and I'm going to see it later tonight with my family. That's how much I enjoyed it. I got it on Blu-ray. My sister got it. So, I enjoyed it. It's not a great movie. It's not the best of the series, but I had fun. The second one is still my favorite sequel. Number 6. This is one of the only flops I have on my list that came out this year. Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Why did this flop? Oh, yeah, because it released it 3 months after Doom Part 2, which we'll get to. But this was awesome. It's a good prequel, great action sequences. It looks fantastic. The cinematography and the colors and George Miller's direction works really well. What hurt the film is that Furiosa is not an adult until like halfway through the movie. Bad, false advertising, guys. Also, the movie could have been shorter. At 2 hours and 17 minutes, it drags a bit. It really does, and especially in the first hour. But Chris Hemsworth was fun as the villain. And like I said, it didn't let me down watching it at home. It would have been fun to watch it in the theater, but again, nobody went to go see it. But I'm glad that I got to see it, and it's on my list. So, Furiosa was really good. Deserved better. Number 5 is the movie that what Furiosa should have been, financially speaking, Doom Part 2. It's only number 5 because it's too long, guys. This movie's beautiful. The best visuals of 2024. The acting is really solid. The cinematography and the action and the effects and the makeup and the costumes are breathtaking. But it's too long. If you cut Florence out of this movie, it would not affect the plot. Just saying, she's boring to listen to. And Dawson Butler, his Batman voice did nothing for me. Everything else, and the Freeman language, there's too much of that. But everything else is fantastic. That's why it's in my top 5. Had to put it. It will be a dishonorable mention not to put this in my top 10. It was that good, and it's going to get a ton of Oscar nominations next year that it deserves. So Denis Villeneuve, keep doing your thing, buddy, and hopefully Doom Messiah is good in a couple years. Really good. Number 4, Ultraman Rising. Yes, the animated Ultraman movie on Netflix. This is the best animated movie I saw this year. Some people say Inside Out 2 or The Wild Robot. This was my Wild Robot. This was freaking amazing. They took an adult story, put it in animation, and made it heartfelt and emotional, and there were stakes involved. Ultraman is really cool in the movie, fighting monsters and the action, and it's 2 hours long, so this is one of the longer animated movies of the year, but it didn't drag. And his relationship with the monster kaiju, baby kaiju, that was really good stuff. Really heartfelt, and as a person that loves Asian stuff, anime and the tokusatsu genre, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, Super Sentai, Power Rangers, yeah, love this stuff. This is my kind of entertainment, and that's why it's in my top 5, because it really, really left an impact on me, and I enjoyed every minute of it. So hopefully we'll get more Ultraman stuff like this next year. Number 3 is the only documentary on my list. It made me cry. It was intense. It made me emotional, and I miss this man a lot. Superman, the Christopher Reeve story. This documentary just it tugs at your heartstrings, man. It's so emotional. What Christopher Reeve went through after that fall. It was a lot, but man, that man will never be forgotten. He was a human being that loved life and lived it to the fullest, even though it got cut tragically short because of an accident. But he never gave up. He kept going, and even when he died, he gave us hope for the future. And hopefully the new Superman movie next year will be a nice nod to him. So rest in peace, Christopher Reeve. Thank you for this documentary. I'm sorry this happened to you. I wish it didn't. But I'm glad that you left us memories that are tender, that we'll carry with us for the rest of our lives. Everybody that saw this documentary. But I couldn't watch it again. It's just too sad. But it was worth it to watch it at least one time. Next is a recent movie I saw on Christmas Eve, and number 2, I loved it. The best video game movie I saw this year, and it's one of the only ones I saw, because I also saw I didn't see Borderlands, but Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Yeah, I love this movie. What can I say? The first 2 movies were really good. This one was solid. I laughed. I teared up a little bit in the scenes with Shadow. Shadow was freaking awesome. Love the characters, interacting with each other and getting the screen time they deserve. And, the action was really solid. And, it went at a relentless pace. And again, another movie under 2 hours that goes in and out. There's some characters that could have been trimmed out, in my opinion, but I didn't hate it. I don't know what the problem is with saying this is the weakest of the 3. I loved it. What's the problem with it? What's not to like? It gave me what I wanted. And the post-credit scenes were worth it. So if you see the movie, go see it right now and stay till the end, because the end credits are worth your time. It's not a stupid scene. It's a cool scene. Both of them. And there's more coming. And I'm glad it was a success. I'm glad it beat Mufasa, which is not on my list, because I didn't want to waste my time. Disney has remade enough of my childhood. And this was great. I love this movie. It was in my top 3 for a reason, because it would entertain me just as much as other movies in the summer did this year. And number 1. Are you guys going to be surprised? You know what it is. You know exactly what it is. And it's a movie that it did not let me down, and it gave Marvel its juice back. And even if this is Marvel's last billion-dollar hit, which I doubt, because I bet the next Avengers is going to be a banger. Deadpool and Wolverine. Yep. This was my favorite movie of the year. I laughed more and had more entertainment in the theater from this than anything else I saw in the theater. I cried at the end. The cameos were awesome, mostly. The action, mind-blowing. That opening dance number, which I'll definitely get to when I do a podcast for it, took my breath away. I was just like, you got me, movie. And it didn't hold back. It gave me all the R-rated goodness of the first 2 films. Some characters kind of got underused, but I get that. Not strong villains, but Deadpool and Wolverine did not disappoint. The 2 of them together made the movie for me. and it made a movie for a lot of people, like as it should, because it's called Deadpool and Wolverine, and they're not secondary characters. They're the main stars of they're the main attraction, and every interaction with them, the costume at the end with the mask, took my breath away. I was in awe. This is the movie I waited for 24 years to see. They said it would never happen, and it did. Mask, claws, R rating, beautiful, fantastic. One of the best Marvel movies of this decade, without any question. Nothing next year is going to top this. Nothing. No Marvel movie. Not Captain America, Brave New World, not Fantastic Four, and definitely not Thunderbolts. This was peak Marvel. This, No Way Home, Endgame, which is still on the top for me. But this was pretty damn close. It was awesome. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. So what are you waiting for? And buy the movie. Support movies like this. Stop supporting Disney Star Wars. Stop supporting freaking these remakes they're doing. Stop supporting people that don't know what a good adaptation is. Support movies like this. This is what it's all about. Giving the fans what they want. And it worked. Over $1 billion. I'm very happy. Just like that movie last year, Mario. When you do things for the fans the right way, the results are going to be king. But that's my list of my favorite movies of 2024. I'll see you guys in 2025. I'll still do some live streams. I'm doing a live stream in a little while. So thanks for watching. Acknowledge me. And I'll see you guys next time.